There's a moment every divorced man knows too well, standing in front of the bathroom mirror at 2 in the morning, wondering where the years went. I'm Daniel Pearson, 43 years old, and that moment had become my nightly ritual. The house felt too big since Marcus moved out for college. My son, my pride and joy, was thriving at State University 3 hours away, living the life I'd always wanted for him. Meanwhile, I rattled around in our 4-bedroom suburban home like a ghost, haunting his own life. The divorce had been finalized 18 months ago. Amanda and I had simply faded, no dramatic fights, no betrayals, just two people who woke up one day and realized they'd been strangers for years. She'd found herself, moved to Portland, started a pottery business. Good for her. I was genuinely happy she'd found her path. But what about mine? I ran my hand through my hair, still thick, still dark, though silver had started threading through at the temples. I'd kept myself in shape, ran 5 miles most mornings, but for what? For whom? The dating apps on my phone gathered digital dust. A few awkward coffee dates with divorced women who looked at me with the same exhausted resignation I felt had convinced me that wasn't the answer. The truth I'd been avoiding for 20 years sat heavy in my chest. I'd never been attracted to Amanda. I'd loved her as a friend, a partner, a co-parent. But that spark, that undeniable pull of desire, it had never been there. And deep down, in a place I'd locked away since high school, I knew why. I just wasn't ready to face it. Friday afternoon sunlight slanted through the kitchen windows as I chopped vegetables for dinner. Marcus had texted that he was bringing his roommate home for spring break. I'd prepared the guest room, bought extra groceries, and told myself I wasn't pathetically grateful for the company. The front door burst open with familiar chaos. "Dad, we're here." Marcus bounded into the kitchen, tall and lean at 21, his mother's blonde hair and my blue eyes. He wrapped me in a bear hug that lifted me slightly off the ground. When had he gotten so strong? "Good to see you, kiddo," I laughed, returning the embrace. "How was the drive?" "Long, I'm starving." "Oh, Dad, this is Ethan." I turned to greet Marcus's roommate and felt the world shift slightly on its axis. Ethan stood in the doorway, a backpack slung over one shoulder, and smiled, a genuine, warm smile that reached his dark brown eyes. He was maybe 5'10", with olive skin that suggested Mediterranean heritage, dark hair that fell in soft waves to just above his collar, and the kind of natural grace that made him seem at home anywhere. "Mr. Pearson, it's really great to finally meet you." He extended his hand. "Marcus talks about you constantly." His handshake was firm and warm. I found myself holding on a moment too long before releasing it. "Please call me Daniel, and it's great to meet you too. Marcus mentions you in every phone call." "All good things, I hope." Ethan's eyes crinkled with humor. "Mostly," I teased, and he laughed, a rich, genuine sound that seemed to fill the kitchen. Marcus grabbed a handful of carrot sticks from my cutting board. "Ethan's been a lifesaver this semester. Turns out having a roommate who actually studies is good for your GPA." "Says the guy who got me into rock climbing," Ethan countered. "My arms still hate you." Their easy banter continued as they hauled luggage upstairs. I returned to dinner preparation, trying to ignore the unusual flutter in my chest. It was just the novelty of having young energy in the house again, I told myself, nothing more. But when Ethan returned to the kitchen 20 minutes later, barefoot in worn jeans and a simple gray t-shirt, offering to help with dinner, I felt that flutter intensify. "You don't have to," I said. "You're a guest." "I want to, besides, I'm a pretty decent cook. My grandmother made sure of that." He washed his hands at the sink, then stood beside me at the counter. "What are we making?" "Chicken piccata. It's Marcus's favorite." "One of mine too." He picked up a knife and began slicing lemons with practiced efficiency. "You know the secret is getting the pan really hot before you add the capers." We fell into an easy rhythm, working side by side. Ethan moved with quiet confidence, his hands skilled and sure. He told me about his grandmother's taverna in Crete, the summers he'd spent there learning to cook, his dual major in architecture and art history. Architecture and art history, I raised an eyebrow. That's an interesting combination. Not really. Buildings are stories written in stone and steel. You can't understand the structure without understanding the culture that created it. He glanced at me, a slight challenge in his expression, as if waiting to see if I'd dismiss the idea. That's actually profound, I said honestly. I'd never thought of it that way. His smile was radiant. Most people think I'm just indecisive. Marcus got it right away, though. He sees things clearly. Something in the way he said it, the affection in his voice, made me wonder if there was more to their friendship than Marcus had mentioned. But my son appeared then, freshly showered, and the moment passed. Dinner was lively. Ethan was an engaging storyteller, recounting their campus adventures with self-deprecating humor that had Marcus and me both laughing. He asked thoughtful questions about my work as a software consultant, actually listened to the answers, and offered insights that showed a keen intelligence. I found myself watching him, the way candlelight caught in his dark eyes, the animated movements of his hands when he spoke, the genuine warmth in his interactions with Marcus. There was something magnetic about him, a vitality that had been missing from my life for so long. After dinner, Marcus yawned. I'm wiped. That drive killed me. I'm pretty tired too, Ethan agreed, though his eyes met mine briefly with an expression I couldn't quite read. Guest room's all yours, I told him. Towels in the bathroom, help yourself to anything you need. Thank you, Daniel. Dinner was amazing. We make a good team. Another one of those smiles that seemed to linger a heartbeat longer than necessary. After they'd gone upstairs, I cleaned the kitchen in a daze. The house felt different now, charged, somehow alive. I told myself it was just the pleasure of having Marcus home, but I knew I was lying. I poured a glass of wine and sat on the back deck, staring at the stars. The April night was cool but not cold, carrying the scent of the flowering cherry tree in the yard. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barked. Normal suburban sounds, normal suburban life. So why did I feel like something fundamental had just shifted? The next morning, I woke to voices from the kitchen. Following the smell of coffee, I found Ethan at the stove, making omelets while Marcus scrolled through his phone at the table. Morning, Ethan said brightly. Hope you don't mind. I'm an early riser and I found eggs. He wore sweatpants and a fitted navy t-shirt that showed off a lean, athletic build. His hair was slightly mussed from sleep, and something about the domesticity of the scene made my breath catch. Not at all. That smells amazing. Greek omelette, feta, spinach, tomatoes. Sit. Coffee's fresh. I obeyed, oddly pleased to be looked after. Marcus glanced up from his phone. Some of the guys are having a party tonight. Is it cool if Ethan and I head out around 8? Of course, you don't need my permission. I know, but it's respectful to ask. He grinned. That's what you always taught me. Ethan slid a perfect omelette onto a plate and set it in front of me. Your dad raised you right. He really did, Marcus said, and the genuine affection in his voice made my throat tight. They left after breakfast to run errands, and I spent the day catching up on work, trying not to notice how empty the house felt without Ethan's presence. When had that happened? He'd been here less than 24 hours. That evening, as promised, they headed out to their party. I settled in with a book, but couldn't concentrate. Around 10, my phone buzzed. Marcus, change of plans, staying at Jesse's tonight. His parents are out of town and a bunch of us are crashing there. Ethan's here too, that cool. Me, of course, be safe, love you. Marcus, love you too, Dad. I told myself the disappointment I felt wasn't about Ethan specifically. I was just lonely. The book remained unread in my lap as I stared at nothing, wrestling with thoughts I'd suppressed for decades. Around 11, headlights swept across the front windows. A car door slammed. I looked up, confused. The front door opened, and Ethan walked in. Hey, he said softly, hope I didn't startle you. I thought you were staying at Jesse's. Yeah, about that. He ran a hand through his hair, looking almost sheepish. Turns out it was more of a hookup party situation, not really my scene. I caught a ride back with someone who was leaving. Hope that's okay. Of course it's okay. This is your home for the week. The words came out warmer than I'd intended. He smiled. Thanks, mind if I join you? I'm not really tired yet. Please. He settled into the opposite end of the couch, close enough that I could smell his cologne, something cedar and citrus. We sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Can I ask you something? He said eventually. Sure. Marcus mentioned you've been alone since the divorce. Don't you get lonely? The directness caught me off guard. Sometimes, most of the time, honestly. Why not date? He paused, seeming to choose words carefully. You're an attractive man, successful, kind, great sense of humor. You must have options. My heart hammered. It's complicated. Complicated how? I met his eyes. In the soft lamplight, they were impossibly deep, and I saw something there, understanding, maybe, or invitation. The moment stretched between us, taut with possibility. I think, I said slowly, I've been looking in the wrong places. Or maybe, he said, just as quietly, you haven't let yourself look at all. The air felt thick, neither of us moved. Ethan, I should tell you something. He shifted slightly closer. I'm gay. I came out my freshman year, and I think Marcus might have brought me here hoping we'd connect. My mind reeled. What? He's worried about you. He sees how lonely you are, and he knows about me. We've talked about, he gestured vaguely, about preferences, types. I may have mentioned that I find older men attractive, sophisticated men, men who have lived, who have depth. I don't understand. I think you do, Daniel. His voice was gentle but certain. I think you've always known, you just haven't let yourself acknowledge it. My hands trembled. Years of careful denial, of measured words and safe choices, felt suddenly fragile. I was married for 20 years. That doesn't mean anything. Plenty of people marry before they understand themselves, before they're brave enough to be themselves. I have a son who loves you unconditionally, who wants you to be happy. Ethan reached out, his fingers barely brushing my hand. When was the last time you let yourself want something, really want it? The touch was electric. I looked at our hands, his young and strong, mine marked by time, and felt something crack open in my chest. I'm 43 years old. And I'm 22, so what? His fingers laced through mine, and I didn't pull away. Age is just a number, Daniel. What matters is how we feel, and I've felt something since the moment I walked into this house. Tell me you don't feel it too. I couldn't, God help me, I couldn't deny it. This is crazy, I whispered. Maybe it's the sanest thing either of us could do. He moved closer until I could feel the warmth radiating from his body. I'm not asking for forever. I'm not asking for anything you can't give. I'm just asking you to be honest, with me, with yourself. His free hand came up to cup my face, thumb brushing along my jaw. The tenderness of it broke something in me. Ethan, I don't know how to do this. Then let me show you. He leaned in slowly, giving me every opportunity to pull back. I didn't. When his lips met mine, soft and sure, the world fell away. The kiss was gentle at first, exploratory, asking permission with every movement. And when I kissed him back, hesitantly at first then with growing certainty, it felt like coming home after a lifetime of wandering. We broke apart, both breathing hard. His forehead rested against mine. Okay, he whispered. Yeah, I managed, more than okay. He smiled against my lips. Good, because I've been wanting to do that since dinner last night. We kissed again, and this time there was less hesitation. His hands tangled in my hair, mine found his waist, pulling him closer. 20 years of denial burned away in the heat between us. When we finally pulled apart, he settled against my chest, my arm around his shoulders. We sat like that for a long time, my heart racing, his breathing steady and calm. What happens now? I asked eventually. Now we take it one moment at a time, no pressure, no expectations, just see where this goes. Marcus will be fine with it, trust me. He's more progressive than you think, and he loves you, he wants you happy. I'm terrified, I admitted. That's okay, so am I. He tilted his head to look at me, but some things are worth being scared for. We talked until nearly 3 in the morning, about everything and nothing. He told me about his first boyfriend, the struggles of coming out to traditional Greek parents, his dreams of designing sustainable buildings. I told him about the gradual erosion of my marriage, the loneliness of the past years, the feelings I'd suppressed since high school. Eventually, exhaustion claimed us both. Ethan stood, stretched, and offered me his hand. Come on, you need sleep. Where's your room? I'm not ready to let you go yet. I should have protested, should have considered propriety, what Marcus might think if he came home. But when Ethan's fingers twined with mine, all those concerns evaporated. We climbed the stairs together. In my bedroom, he turned to face me, hands on my chest. Just sleep, he said softly. I just want to hold you. Is that okay? I nodded, not trusting my voice. We shed our shirts, kept our sweatpants on, and climbed under the covers. Ethan curled into me, his head on my chest, my arms around him. The feeling of another body against mine, warm and solid and real, brought tears to my eyes. Thank you, I whispered into his hair. For what? For seeing me, for being brave enough to make me see myself. His arms tightened around me. Thank you for letting me in. I fell asleep, with his heartbeat steady against mine, feeling for the first time in years like I might actually be whole. I woke to sunlight streaming through the curtains and the unfamiliar but wonderful sensation of someone in my arms. Ethan was still asleep, his dark hair tousled, one hand resting on my chest. In sleep, he looked even younger, vulnerable in a way that made protective instincts surge through me. What was I doing? This beautiful young man, my son's friend, in my bed. The reality of it should have terrified me. Instead, I felt peaceful, complete in a way I'd never experienced with Amanda. Ethan's eyes fluttered open. He smiled sleepily. Morning. Morning. Any regrets? There was vulnerability beneath the casual tone. I brushed a strand of hair from his forehead. None, you. Not even close. He stretched like a cat, then propped himself on one elbow, studying my face. What are you thinking? That this is the most natural thing in the world, and also completely terrifying. Fair, he traced idle patterns on my chest. Want to talk about it? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed on the nightstand. Marcus. Marcus, morning, coming home around noon. Ethan there. My heart stopped. Ethan read the panic on my face and took my phone, reading the message. Ethan, yeah, came back early. Party wasn't my thing. See you at noon. He handed my phone back. Breathe, Daniel, it's fine. He can't know, not yet. I need time to figure out how to. How to what? Tell him you're gay? Tell him we kissed? Ethan sat up, and I saw a flash of hurt in his eyes. Or tell him you're ashamed. That's not fair. Isn't it? He swung his legs out of bed. Look, I get that this is new for you. I get that it's scary. But I'm not going to be your dirty secret, Daniel. I've worked too hard to be proud of who I am to go back into any closet, even yours. I'm not asking you to. Then what are you asking? He turned to face me, and I saw both his youth and his strength in that moment. Because here's the thing, I really like you, more than I probably should given we just met. But I've done the closeted relationship thing before, and I won't do it again. If this is going to be something, anything, you need to be willing to own it. The challenge hung between us. He was right, and I knew it. I'm scared, I admitted. I'm 43 years old, and I've never been with a man, never admitted to anyone, including myself, that this is who I am. My son is the most important person in my life, and the thought of changing how he sees me. Do you really think Marcus's love is that conditional? Ethan's voice softened. Because from everything I've seen, that kid adores you, and he's not the type to stop loving someone for being honest about who they are. I sat up, running my hands through my hair. You're right. I know you're right. I just need a minute to catch up to where my heart already is. Ethan moved closer, kneeling on the bed beside me. I can give you time, but not silence. I won't pretend this didn't happen. I won't pretend I don't have feelings for you. I wouldn't ask you to. I took his hand. Give me today. Let me figure out how to talk to Marcus. Let me do this right. He studied me for a long moment, then nodded. Okay, today, but Daniel, tonight we talk, really talk, about what this is, what we want it to be. Deal. Deal. He leaned in and kissed me, soft and sweet. Now come on, let's make breakfast before your son gets home and wonders why we're both rumpled and hiding. The hours until Marcus arrived were the longest of my life. Ethan and I maintained a careful distance, our interactions polite and friendly, but nothing that would raise suspicion. Yet every time our eyes met, I felt the pull between us, the unspoken promise of the conversation to come. Marcus bounded in at noon with the energy of someone who'd slept well and enjoyed their night. Hey, how was your evening, Ethan? Sorry the party wasn't your scene. It's all good. Your dad and I had a nice talk. Ethan's voice was casual, but I caught the slight emphasis on talk. Cool, cool. Marcus grabbed a soda from the fridge. Hey, Dad, is it okay if I head to the gym? Want to keep up my routine while I'm home? Of course, take your time. After he left, the house fell silent. Ethan and I looked at each other across the kitchen island. You're really going to tell him, Ethan said. It wasn't a question. I have to, you're right, he deserves honesty, and I deserve to stop hiding. Want me to be there? I considered it. No, this is something I need to do alone, but thank you. He came around the island and took my hands. Whatever happens, Daniel, you're not alone anymore. Remember that. The kiss he gave me was gentle, reassuring. When he pulled back, he smiled. I'll be in the guest room, reading. Come find me after. I will. Marcus returned 2 hours later, post-workout glow on his face. I was sitting on the back deck, rehearsing different versions of the conversation in my head. None of them felt right. Hey Dad, want to grab dinner somewhere tonight? My treat. Actually, can we talk first? Just the two of us. Something in my tone made him pause. Sure, everything okay? Yes and no, sit down, kiddo. He settled into the chair across from me, concern creasing his brow. My heart hammered. This was it, the moment that could change everything. Marcus, there's something I need to tell you. Something I should have told you, should have told myself, a long time ago. You're scaring me, Dad. Don't be scared, I'm not sick. Nothing's wrong exactly, it's just, I took a deep breath, I'm gay. The words hung in the air between us. Marcus's eyes widened, but not with shock, with something closer to relief. Okay, he said slowly. Okay, wow, how long have you known? Consciously, about 36 hours, but deep down, probably my whole life. He let out a breath that became a laugh. 36 hours, so since. Since Ethan arrived, yes. Understanding dawned on his face. Oh my God, I knew it, I totally knew it. What? Dad, come on, I've spent 9 months living with Ethan. I know exactly what his type is. Older, intelligent, kind guys with their shit together. And I've spent 21 years watching you pretend to be happy when you weren't. When Ethan mentioned he was dreading going home to his parents' place for spring break, I saw an opportunity. I stared at my son. You set this up. I mean, not explicitly. I didn't tell him to seduce you or anything. He grinned. But I maybe mentioned a few times how amazing you are, how you deserved someone who appreciated you, how you seemed lonely, and I maybe showed him your photo. Marcus, are you mad? Suddenly he looked uncertain, young despite his 21 years. Mad? No, I'm stunned and moved and terrified, but not mad. He reached across and took my hand. Dad, I love you. All I've ever wanted is for you to be happy. If Ethan makes you happy, and based on how you both kept looking at each other this morning, I'm guessing he does, then I'm thrilled. Tears pricked my eyes. You really mean that? Of course I mean it. You think I didn't notice you were never really in love with Mom? I was a kid, but I wasn't blind. You two were friends, partners, good parents, but there was never spark, passion, and you deserve that. When did you get so wise? I had a pretty great role model. He squeezed my hand. So what now, are you and Ethan? I don't know, we've barely had time to figure out what this is. He's young, Marcus. He's your friend. There are so many reasons this is complicated. And a million reasons it's worth it. He stood. I'm going to head out for a bit, give you two some space to talk, but Dad, don't overthink this. Sometimes the best things in life are the ones that scare us most. He hugged me tight, and I held onto my son, my heart full to bursting. I love you, kiddo. Love you too, Dad. Now go talk to him. I found Ethan curled up in the guest room armchair, a book in his lap, but eyes unfocused, clearly not reading. When I knocked softly on the doorframe, he looked up with barely concealed anxiety. How did it go? He knew or suspected, and he's fine with it, more than fine. Relief washed over Ethan's face. Yeah. Yeah, apparently he's been playing matchmaker. I entered the room, closing the door behind me. He's given us space to talk, so let's talk. Ethan set the book aside and stood. Okay, where do we start? With honesty, I moved closer. You scared me this morning, not because you were wrong, but because you were right. I was already thinking about hiding, about compartmentalizing this. Old habits. I get it, I really do. Coming out is terrifying. But you did it. You were brave enough to live authentically, even when it was hard, even when your parents struggled with it. They came around eventually, love won out. He reached for my hands. What are you saying, Daniel? I'm saying I don't want to hide. I'm saying that terrified as I am, I want to see where this goes. With you, honestly and openly. His smile was radiant. Yeah. Yeah, I'm too old to waste time pretending to be someone I'm not. You helped me see that. You're not old, he protested, but he was grinning. And for the record, I want to see where this goes too. I know it's fast. I know we barely know each other. But Daniel, I've never felt like this before. You make me want things I didn't know I could have. Like what? Stability, partnership, a real connection, not just hookups and casual dating. He stepped closer until we were nearly touching. You make me want to build something real. My hands found his waist, drawing him against me. I haven't built anything real in 20 years. I don't know if I remember how. Then we'll figure it out together. When we kissed, it felt different from the night before. There was still passion, still that electric connection, but also something deeper, a promise, a beginning. We spent the afternoon on the back deck, talking about everything, his complicated relationship with his traditional parents, my marriage and divorce, our fears and hopes and dreams. He told me about his first relationship, a 2-year romance that ended when his boyfriend wanted to stay closeted. I told him about the high school crush I'd never acknowledged, the careful ways I'd built a heterosexual life, while some part of me always knew it was a performance. Do you regret it? Ethan asked. The marriage, I mean. No, because it gave me Marcus, and it taught me how to be a partner, even if I wasn't being authentic. I laced my fingers through his, but I regret the time I lost, the years I could have been living honestly. You can't get those back, but you can choose how you move forward. I'm choosing you, whatever this becomes. His kiss tasted like hope. Marcus came home as the sun was setting, found us sitting close on the deck, my arm around Ethan's shoulders. He grinned. You two figure things out. We are working on it, Ethan said with a smile. Good, so dinner, I'm still buying, we can celebrate. Celebrate what? I asked. New beginnings. Marcus looked at both of us with such genuine affection that my throat tightened, and my dad finally being happy. We went to a local Italian restaurant, the three of us. It should have been awkward, but it wasn't. Marcus kept the conversation flowing, clearly delighted by this turn of events. Ethan and I exchanged glances across the table, secret smiles, the brush of feet beneath the table. I watched my son laugh at one of Ethan's stories and felt a surge of gratitude so powerful it was almost painful. This young man had given me permission to be myself. He'd created space for me to find happiness. I'd spent 21 years teaching him about life, and now he was teaching me about courage. That night, after Marcus had gone to bed, Ethan and I stood in the hallway between our rooms. "Come with me," I said softly. He followed me to my bedroom. We lay together in the darkness, wrapped in each other's arms, talking in whispers about the future. He had another year of college. I had my work, my house, my established life, but none of that felt like obstacles, just logistics to work through. "Stay the week," I murmured. "Stay and let's really get to know each other." "I'd like that," he kissed my shoulder. "And then what?" "Then we date, long distance if we have to. I'll visit you at school. You'll come home on weekends. We'll video chat and text and make it work." "You're really doing this, choosing this." "I'm choosing you, and more importantly, I'm choosing myself, the real me." His arms tightened around me. "I'm proud of you, you know that." No one had said that to me in years. The words settled into my chest, warm and bright. "Stay with me tonight," I whispered. "Just hold me." "Always." We fell asleep tangled together, and I dreamed of possibilities I'd never let myself imagine. The days that followed blurred into a golden haze of discovery. With Marcus's blessing and encouragement, Ethan and I stopped pretending there was nothing between us. We took long walks through the neighborhood, had deep conversations over coffee, and learned each other's rhythms and quirks. I discovered that Ethan was terrible at mornings but came alive at night, that he cooked when he was stressed, hummed Greek songs under his breath while working, and had an endearing habit of tucking his hair behind his ear when he was concentrating. He was passionate about sustainable architecture, dreamed of designing buildings that worked with nature rather than against it, and lit up when talking about his plans for the future. He learned that I was meticulous about my morning routine, needed my 5-mile run to feel centered, and had a dry sense of humor that emerged when I felt comfortable. That I'd been a closet reader of romance novels for years, perhaps searching for feelings I didn't let myself have in real life. That I'd built a successful career, but had always felt like something essential was missing. Marcus played chaperone and cheerleader in equal measure, clearly delighted by the whole situation. One evening, the three of us sat in the living room, Marcus playing video games while Ethan and I occupied opposite ends of the couch, my hand resting on his ankle in casual affection. "This is weird, right?" Marcus said suddenly, pausing his game. "Like my dad dating my roommate should be weird." "Is it?" Ethan asked. "Weird for you?" "Honestly, no, it's kind of perfect." He turned to look at us. "You're both people I love. Seeing you happy makes me happy, though I'm establishing one rule right now." "What's that?" I asked warily. "No making out in front of me. I'm progressive, but I don't need that visual burned into my brain." Ethan laughed. "Fair enough." "And Ethan, if you hurt my dad's roommate or not, I will end you." "Noted. Same goes for you though, Mr. Pearson. You break his heart, and I'm taking his side." I looked between them, these two young men who'd somehow conspired to give me a second chance at life, and felt overwhelmed with love. "I'll do my best not to screw this up," I promised. "That's all any of us can do," Ethan said, squeezing my hand. Chapter 7, First Real Date. On Wednesday, I took Ethan on our first official date. I'd made reservations at an upscale French restaurant in the city, the kind of place I'd always wanted to take someone I cared about but never had. Ethan dressed in dark slacks and a fitted white shirt that made his olive skin glow. I wore my best suit, and when he saw me, his eyes widened. "Damn," he breathed, "you clean up really well." "So do you." Marcus Wolf whistled from the stairs. "Look at you two. Have fun, be safe, don't do anything I wouldn't do." "That leaves the options pretty wide open," I muttered, and Ethan laughed. The restaurant was intimate and elegant, all candlelight and soft music. We sat across from each other, and I reached for his hand on the table, not caring who saw. "Thank you for this," Ethan said, "for being brave enough to be here with me." "Thank you for giving me a reason to be brave." We talked through multiple courses, the conversation flowing as easily as the wine. He told me more about his complicated relationship with his father, a traditional Greek man who'd struggled to accept his sexuality. I told him about the loneliness of the past years, the slow realization that I'd built a life that looked right but felt wrong. "Do you think your parents will ever fully accept it?" I asked. "My mom already has. She calls me every week, wants to know if I'm eating well, if I'm happy. My dad, he's getting there. He still won't talk about it directly, but he asks about school, about my friends. He's trying." Ethan smiled sadly. "That's all I can ask for right now." "What about us? Will you tell them about me?" He met my eyes steadily. "Eventually, when we're sure this is serious, when we know where it's going." He paused. "Is that what you want, for this to be serious?" "Yes," I said without hesitation. "I know it's fast. I know we're still figuring this out, but I haven't felt this certain about anything in 20 years. His smile was brilliant. "Good, because I'm falling for you, Daniel, hard and fast and completely." "I'm already there," I admitted. "From that first dinner, maybe, definitely from that first kiss." After dinner, we walked through the city streets, hand in hand. It was my first time being openly affectionate with another man in public, and I waited for the anxiety, the shame, the urge to pull away. It never came. Instead, I felt proud, proud to be with this incredible young man, proud to finally be living honestly. We ended up at a small jazz club, listening to a talented quartet while we sat close in a dark corner booth. Ethan's head rested on my shoulder, my arm around him, and the rightness of it was undeniable. "I don't want this week to end," he murmured. "It doesn't have to. The week ends, but we don't. Long distance is hard. So we'll make it work. I'll drive up to see you on weekends. You'll come home for breaks. We'll call every day." I kissed his temple. "I just found you, Ethan. I'm not letting you go that easily. Promise. Promise." Thursday night, Marcus went out with old high school friends, leaving Ethan and me alone. We made dinner together, a Greek dish Ethan taught me, lemon chicken with roasted potatoes, moving around each other in the kitchen with increasing familiarity. After dinner, we settled on the couch with wine. The conversation had been light all evening, but I could sense something weighing on Ethan. "What's on your mind?" I asked gently. He was quiet for a long moment. "I'm scared." "Of what?" "That this is too good to be true, that I'll go back to school and you'll realize this was just a spring break fantasy, that the reality of dating someone 21 years younger will hit you and you'll back out." I set down my wine glass and took his face in my hands. "Look at me, really look at me." His dark eyes met mine, vulnerable and uncertain. "I spent 43 years sleepwalking through life," I said quietly, "playing a role, meeting expectations, never being fully honest about who I was or what I wanted. And then you walked into my kitchen and woke me up. You think I'm going to go back to sleep now? Ethan, you didn't just change my week, you changed my life." "But the age difference." "Means nothing. You're more emotionally mature than most people twice your age. You're brilliant and kind and brave. You taught me how to be brave too." "What if people judge us?" "Let them. I'm done living for other people's approval." I kissed him softly. "The only person's judgment that matters to me is Marcus's, and he's thrilled. Everyone else can think whatever they want." "You really mean that?" "I really do." He kissed me then, deeply and thoroughly, and when we broke apart, his eyes were bright with tears. "I love you," he whispered. "I know it's too soon to say it. I know we've barely known each other a week, but I can't help it. I love you." My heart felt too big for my chest. "I love you too, and you're right, it's too soon, it's crazy, it makes no logical sense. And I don't care, I love you, Ethan." We held each other on that couch for a long time, tears and laughter mixing together, the weight of the words we'd finally said settling into something solid and real. Later, in my bed, we lay facing each other in the darkness. "Tell me something you've never told anyone," Ethan said softly. I thought about it. When Marcus was born, I looked at him and felt this overwhelming love, this fierce protectiveness, and I realized I'd never felt that way about Amanda. I loved her, but not like that, never like that. I felt so guilty. And now I know it wasn't her fault or mine. We were both trying to fit into roles that didn't work. I'm glad we ended it before the resentment got toxic. I traced his jawline with my finger. Your turn, tell me something. I've never had a serious relationship because I was always looking for what my parents had, that deep partnership, that unwavering commitment. And every guy I dated wanted to keep things casual, no labels, no promises. I'd given up on finding it. He kissed my palm. Until you. I'm going to try my best not to let you down. Just love me, that's all I need. I can do that. We made love that night for the first time, tender and slow, learning each other's bodies with reverence and care. There was vulnerability in it, trust, a giving of ourselves that went beyond the physical. Afterward, wrapped in each other's arms, I felt more complete than I ever had in my life. Sunday arrived too quickly. The week had been a cocoon, a safe space where reality couldn't intrude. But Marcus had to get back for classes, and Ethan with him. We packed the car in near silence, the weight of the impending separation heavy on all of us. I kept finding excuses to touch Ethan, a hand on his shoulder, fingers brushing as we passed each other, storing up contact against the lonely days ahead. Marcus, perceptive as always, gave us space. He hugged me tight before getting in the car. He's going to be okay, Dad. You both are. I know, doesn't make it easier. Nothing worth having is easy, he grinned. Besides, you'll see him next weekend, right? If he'll have me. He'll have you. He's stupid in love with you. It's actually kind of nauseating how cute you are together. I laughed despite the lump in my throat. Get out of here, kid. Ethan and I stood by the driver's side door, neither wanting to make the first move to separate. So, he said softly. So, I'll call you when we get there. You better. And Friday after my last class, I'm all yours for the weekend, if you still want to drive up. I'll be there. I pulled him close, not caring that the neighbors might see. I love you. This week wasn't a fluke or a fantasy. This is real. I know, he kissed me soft and lingering. I love you too, and Daniel, thank you. For what? For choosing yourself, for choosing us, for being brave enough to let me in. Best decision I ever made. One more kiss, and then he was climbing into the car. I stood in the driveway, watching until the car disappeared around the corner, feeling like my heart had just driven away. The house felt impossibly empty. I wandered through the rooms, seeing evidence of the week everywhere, 2 wine glasses by the sink, one of Ethan's philosophy books forgotten on the coffee table, the sheets on my bed that still smelled like his cologne. I picked up my phone and saw a text already waiting. Ethan, miss you already. Is it Friday yet? Me, not for 5 more days, but who's counting? Ethan, this is going to be harder than I thought. Me, we'll make it work, I promise. And we did. The next months fell into a rhythm. Video calls every night, long phone conversations where we talked about everything and nothing. Text messages throughout the day, silly photos, random thoughts, expressions of love. I learned to use emojis. Ethan learned my work schedule. True to my word, I drove up that first Friday, my heart pounding as I pulled into the campus parking lot. Ethan was waiting outside his dorm, and when he saw me, his face lit up like sunrise. He ran to the car, and I barely had the door open before he was kissing me, laughing, holding me tight. You came. Of course I came. I said I would. I know, but part of me was scared. It was too good to be true. It's real, Ethan. We're real. We spent the weekend exploring the college town, me getting to know his world. He introduced me to his friends, a tight-knit group who'd clearly been briefed about me and welcomed me with teasing affection. We had dinner with Marcus, who gave me a thumbs up when Ethan wasn't looking. Sunday afternoon, saying goodbye got no easier, but we had the next visit to look forward to, and the one after that, and slowly, the future we were building started to feel solid. 6 months later, I stood in the same kitchen where this had all begun, preparing dinner. Ethan was graduating in a week, summa cum laude with his dual degree. He'd already accepted a position at a prestigious architectural firm in the city, an hour's commute from my house, which we'd both agreed was perfect. The front door opened. "Daniel, I'm home." Home, he'd started calling it that 3 months ago when he'd officially moved into my guest room on weekends. Next week, it would be permanent. I met him in the hallway, kissing him in greeting. He tasted like coffee and possibility. "How was your day?" I asked. "Long, exhausting, better now." He held up a bottle of wine. "Marcus called. He's bringing his new girlfriend for dinner." "His what now?" Ethan laughed. Apparently, our relationship inspired him to actually commit to someone. "Her name's Sarah. She's a pre-med student. He's nervous." "Good, he should be. I'm an intimidating father." "You're a softie, and we both know it." Dinner was lively and warm. Sarah was sharp and funny, clearly smitten with my son, and I gave her my blessing, subtly, the way fathers do. Over dessert, Marcus raised his glass. "I want to make a toast to new beginnings, to love in unexpected places, and to my dad, who taught me that it's never too late to be honest about who you are." "And to Ethan," I added, my eyes finding his across the table, "who taught me that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let someone in." We clinked glasses, and I felt the rightness of this moment settle into my bones. My son, happy and in love, the man I loved, soon to be a permanent part of my life, a future stretching ahead, bright with promise. Later, after Marcus and Sarah had left, Ethan and I sat on the back deck under the stars, the same place we'd first really talked 6 months ago. "Do you ever regret it?" I asked, dating an older guy, missing out on the typical college experience. "Never. Do you regret taking a chance on your son's friend?" "Best decision I ever made." He shifted closer, his head on my shoulder. "I have something to tell you." My heart skipped. "Yeah." "My dad called yesterday. He wants to meet you. He's ready to acknowledge this, us. He wants to fly out next month." I felt Ethan's nervousness in the tension of his body. I kissed his hair. "Then we'll make sure everything's perfect. We'll show him how happy you are, how happy we are together." "You're not scared?" "Terrified, but I'm not running, not from this, not from you, not anymore." He tilted his face up, and I kissed him as the stars wheeled overhead, the same stars that had witnessed the beginning of our story. "I love you," he whispered. "I love you too, now and always." The architectural firm's summer party was in full swing, held in the rooftop garden of one of Ethan's recently completed buildings, a sustainable office complex that had garnered significant attention in design circles. I stood at the edge of the crowd, watching him work the room with easy confidence, explaining his design choices to interested parties. He'd grown into his role beautifully, his natural talent combined with hard work earning him respect despite his youth. Marcus appeared at my elbow, beer in hand. "Your boyfriend's kind of a big deal, Dad." "Don't I know it?" I couldn't keep the pride from my voice. "You happy?" I looked at my son, graduated now, working as an environmental engineer, still with Sarah, still my greatest achievement. Incredibly, you. "Yeah, thanks to you, actually. Watching you choose happiness taught me I could do the same, that I didn't have to settle for almost right when I could hold out for perfect." Ethan caught my eye across the crowd and smiled, excusing himself from his conversation to weave through the guests toward us. "Hey, handsome," he said, kissing my cheek unself-consciously. "You both doing okay?" "We are perfect," I assured him. "This is an incredible party. Your building is stunning." "Our building," he corrected. "You helped with the software integration for the environmental systems, remember?" Marcus laughed. "You two are disgustingly perfect together. I'm going to find Sarah before the cuteness gives me a cavity." Alone as you can be in a crowd, Ethan took my hand. "Thank you for being here," he said softly. I know work events aren't really your thing. Are you kidding? I wouldn't miss this. I'm so proud of you, Ethan, of everything you've accomplished. Couldn't have done it without you. You believed in me when I wasn't sure I believed in myself. You would have been brilliant no matter what. I just got lucky enough to be along for the ride. He squeezed my hand. Speaking of rides, ready to get out of here, I have something I want to show you. Laid the way. We slipped away from the party, taking the elevator to the top floor. Ethan led me to a small balcony overlooking the city, the lights spreading out below us like a carpet of stars. I wanted to bring you here because this is where it started in a way, he said. This building was the first project I pitched after I started at the firm, and I was so nervous, so sure they'd reject it, but you told me to be brave, to trust my vision, to not hold back. And you didn't. You were brilliant. Because you taught me that being vulnerable, being honest, taking risks, that's where the real magic happens. He turned to face me fully. You changed my life, Daniel. You taught me what real love looks like, what partnership means, what it's like to build something meaningful with someone. Ethan, let me finish. He took both my hands, and I saw his eyes shining in the city lights. I want to keep building with you, not just buildings, but a life, a real, committed, forever kind of life. My heart stopped as he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. I know we haven't been together that long in the grand scheme of things. I know some people will say we are moving too fast, but I also know that sometimes when you find the right person, the timing doesn't matter. What matters is the certainty. He opened the box, revealing 2 simple platinum bands. Daniel Pearson, will you marry me? Tears blurred my vision. A year and a half ago, I'd been sleepwalking through life, resigned to loneliness. And now this beautiful, brilliant man was asking me to spend forever with him. Yes, I managed. God, yes, I love you so much. He slid the ring onto my finger, and I did the same for him, both of us laughing and crying. When we kissed, it tasted like joy, like coming home, like every good thing I'd never let myself hope for. Below us, the city hummed with life and possibility. Above us, stars wheeled in their ancient dance. And between us, in the space of a heartbeat, a kiss, a promise, was everything that mattered. So, Ethan said, grinning through his tears, ready to face the future, Mr. Pearson. I pulled him close, my husband-to-be, my heart, my home. With you, I'm ready for anything. And standing there in the glow of the city lights, rings gleaming on our fingers and love overflowing in our hearts, I finally understood what it meant to be completely, authentically, joyfully alive. The architectural firm's summer party was in full swing, held in the rooftop garden of one of Ethan's recently completed buildings, a sustainable office complex that had garnered significant attention in design circles. I stood at the edge of the crowd, watching him work the room with easy confidence, explaining his design choices to interested parties. He'd grown into his role beautifully, his natural talent combined with hard work earning him respect despite his youth. Marcus appeared at my elbow, beer in hand. Your boyfriend's kind of a big deal, Dad. Don't I know it? I couldn't keep the pride from my voice. You happy? I looked at my son, graduated now, working as an environmental engineer, still with Sarah, still my greatest achievement. Incredibly, you. Yeah, thanks to you, actually. Watching you choose happiness taught me I could do the same, that I didn't have to settle for almost right when I could hold out for perfect. Ethan caught my eye across the crowd and smiled, excusing himself from his conversation to weave through the guests toward us. Hey, handsome, he said, kissing my cheek unself-consciously. You both doing okay? We are perfect, I assured him. This is an incredible party. Your building is stunning. Our building, he corrected. You helped with the software integration for the environmental systems, remember? Marcus laughed. You two are disgustingly perfect together. I'm going to find Sarah before the cuteness gives me a cavity. Alone as you can be in a crowd, Ethan took my hand. Thank you for being here, he said softly. I know work events aren't really your thing. Are you kidding? I wouldn't miss this. I'm so proud of you, Ethan, of everything you've accomplished. Couldn't have done it without you. You believed in me when I wasn't sure I believed in myself. You would have been brilliant no matter what. I just got lucky enough to be along for the ride. He squeezed my hand. Speaking of rides, ready to get out of here, I have something I want to show you. Laid the way. We slipped away from the party, taking the elevator to the top floor. Ethan led me to a small balcony overlooking the city, the lights spreading out below us like a carpet of stars. I wanted to bring you here because this is where it started in a way, he said. This building was the first project I pitched after I started at the firm, and I was so nervous, so sure they'd reject it, but you told me to be brave, to trust my vision, to not hold back. And you didn't. You were brilliant. Because you taught me that being vulnerable, being honest, taking risks, that's where the real magic happens. He turned to face me fully. You changed my life, Daniel. You taught me what real love looks like, what partnership means, what it's like to build something meaningful with someone. Ethan, let me finish. He took both my hands, and I saw his eyes shining in the city lights. I want to keep building with you, not just buildings, but a life, a real, committed, forever kind of life. My heart stopped as he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. I know we haven't been together that long in the grand scheme of things. I know some people will say we are moving too fast, but I also know that sometimes when you find the right person, the timing doesn't matter. What matters is the certainty. He opened the box, revealing two simple platinum bands. Daniel Pearson, will you marry me? Tears blurred my vision. A year and a half ago, I'd been sleepwalking through life, resigned to loneliness. And now this beautiful, brilliant man was asking me to spend forever with him. Yes, I managed. God, yes, I love you so much. He slid the ring onto my finger, and I did the same for him, both of us laughing and crying. When we kissed, it tasted like joy, like coming home, like every good thing I'd never let myself hope for. Below us, the city hummed with life and possibility. Above us, stars wheeled in their ancient dance. And between us, in the space of a heartbeat, a kiss, a promise, was everything that mattered. So, Ethan said, grinning through his tears, ready to face the future, Mr. Pearson. I pulled him close, my husband-to-be, my heart, my home. With you, I'm ready for anything. And standing there in the glow of the city lights, rings gleaming on our fingers and love overflowing in our hearts, I finally understood what it meant to be completely, authentically, joyfully alive.